Hey guys, it's Merrick coming to you not live, and I had a thought on my mind. So, what was the thing that I usually do? Well, I grew up around the time that the, PlayStation 2 and all those other sort of systems came out, the GameCube, Xbox, all that. And I always wondered to myself, right? Like, because I've sort of seen, like, a big shift in how games sort of, like, release, at least nowadays, and, like, So, I was a big fan of stuff like Beautiful Joe, those sorts of like very stylistic games that came out, and it never came to me though. Like, what happened to those types of games, right? So, like, there has been a shift in terms of how games are made and what they look like now. Like a lot of like the realistic graphics and everything like that, because you kind of have to do that shit, I guess, in order to impress, I guess, the general audience or the standard. But otherwise, it's like nothing too special in terms of like what you can do. Like, there's a lot of great stylized games out there that, like I said, I don't ever see for the most part, and usually comes in from indie games. And like I said, indie games are great. A lot of them are pretty good. Others aren't, and that's what kind of sucks about it. I guess it's not really like a middle market game sort of thing, because there's still existence for that, and some games do come out as middle market sort of style. I would say something like, well, a more famous one was like the I think it was Senua's Sacrifice, or I forgot the whole full name of that game. But there's still a few of those coming out. Nothing too crazy though in terms of like what they are, but hey, it's what you get. But you never see like a big studio really release. Oh, and you know what? I just throw one. Mega Man 11, I feel, was like a middle market, bit like an indie game, in terms of like how they sold it and everything like that. Digital only, of course, but that's how they kind of did the later Mega Man games. I know that they did that for 11 and was it 11? No, 10 and 9. Those two were late sort of Xbox 360, I believe. Yeah, because 10 had base. But yeah, those games were in the same sort of style where they had like the sort of stylized computer generated graphics. They were somewhat middle market, released a bit like indies, and I know they had like they did the whole sort of thing to bank off of the nostalgia of like the box art for the digital art and everything like that, which was pretty good. And I sort of see that that was the big thing, though. Capcom, because they're kind of significant with this sort of thing, they did release Okami, which we've played before, and that was like a middle market game in a way, but it had the same sort of like style as Beautiful Joe, where it was cell shaded. It had like a great sort of look, and it was kind of timeless, and it was and that's what I'm kind of thinking. Is the disappearance of the middle market getting rid of games like that? Because like when you look at something like Nintendo, for example, right? What is the like what is the big thing? They have a weird blend of realistic and the sort of stylized graphics that there are. So like look at Breath of the Wild, for example. Like some stuff is pretty damn realistic. Others are like it's it looks like a I'd say a good CGI animated feature or something like that maybe. But it's not out of the realm of realism though. Like it's just cartoony enough that it doesn't feel real, but it's not whatchamacallit enough. Realistic enough to make it feel like it's, you know, trying to be like I guess the next big AAA hit or something like that in terms of graphical capabilities. Let's use, I guess, Assassin's Creed as an example, because that one keeps going up in graphic quality over the years, especially while dropping the assassination motif. But I do like the idea of that, though, because it does seem interesting that we would get that sort of thing from Nintendo. And I know that they try to focus on fun. One of their quotes being, back in the GameCube days, people just don't want to have fun. They just want to kill people in HD. I forgot where that was from, but I heard that they quoted that in a article. But there is some merit to that because you don't see you don't see these sort of stylized games anymore, and it kind of makes me wonder. Maybe that is a bit of a true statement. Like I don't know. And when we get the occasional one that pops out that's not an indie related title, we do get stuff like, dare I say, Knack felt in a similar vein, though kind of like cheap, if you know what I mean. Knack 2, I guess, would be better. I think that one had the. I haven't really played it, but it looked, it felt a bit cheaper, though it was a first party title for the PlayStation. But it sort of carried that similar style. And that's what I find weird about this sort of thing. While there is a shift in the market to this more realism, it just kind of feels, I wouldn't say fake, but it just kind of feels like, chen, chen, trend chasing. And it just, it doesn't feel right. So, I guess whatever makes the most money, of course, but I thought people would want, like, more timeless games than, like something that's going to immediately get upgraded. This doesn't have to do with, like, graphics neither, because the PC market, you can basically put anything out, but, most of the time it's indie games, and the only AAA games that we get are, never this, I guess, never sort of like stylized, never released with some form of, I guess because they want to keep charging that price tag of $60 all the time. And I guess the best way to do that would be just upping the graphical quality over and over and over again until, I don't know, what's it gonna eventually look like, a live action movie? But the point is, as I say, with these game and chat videos, tell me your ideas, what you think. Why don't we see stylized games like Beautiful Joe and other things like that anymore? Like new ones, I should say, not re-releases and stuff like that. Because while we do get it occasionally, like luckily we got like The Wonderful 101 as a great example of like a re-release of that sort of stylized game that looks great. But we never see new ones, or we rarely do. I don't know if it's like some sort of shift in the market. I don't fully study this. It feels like there is, but I'm not 100% sure if it is. Like I don't know what general audience is like. I can only go off of what I enjoy / what I see. And this is why I like, having these sort of like videos where I can get a consensus, see what people think and everything like that. So like I say, guys, as always, let me know down in the comments what you think. And remember, as always, be yourselves. And I'll catch you next time. Merrick out. See you guys.